this looks like a lens cap as opposed to an actual lens. There's a pretty good chance that you've experienced this problem. If you are being carrying around a mirrorless camera, chances are you probably got more than one lens. Some folks will have a big lens, like this is a Sigma 600mm lens. It's pretty huge and it's heavy. Then you have something like this, which is a Sony 20mm lens. Not huge, but nonetheless, you still gotta carry it around, or maybe it's the one that's permanently etched onto your camera. Then you have this. This, my friends, believe it or not, is an actual lens. This is the new Viltrox 28mm 4.5 full frame lens. It's technically what's known as a pancake lens. I've never had one of these before, so let's find out, is this thing any good? First off, this thing is only 60 grams. It is absolutely tiny. There is zero weight in this thing. And once you take off the cover here, the cap, it gets smaller again. And it's nearly as heavy as the cap. Anyway, this thing has blown my mind. There's even a USB-C port for updating firmware. Now, you're like, where's the actual lens? Well, here's one good thing and probably one bad thing. It's a clever little design. We have a little button that slides back and forth, and that gives you your lens cap essentially, and that exposes the actual lens. Now you can look at the lens here and it is absolutely tiny compared to what most folks might be used to with full frame glass. Now, this is a locked aperture, meaning it's 4.5. So if you're looking for a fast lens that's going to be super good in very dark, low light conditions, this is not it. If you're looking for super creamy bokeh, this is not it. If you're looking for a lens that literally you can put in your pocket, and wait till you hear the price, then this could well be it. There is no bells and whistles about this. There is no focus ring on this. There's no buttons, there's no dials. There's just a USB-C port, as I said, for updating. But the ergonomics of this, it's good in the hand. I mean, literally, you put this on your camera and you forget it's actually there. But how does it look? This lens, you know, these kind of small lenses, to me, they always kind of remind me that it's kind of like one of those vintage lenses. And the look off of this lens, just if you can see here at crappy studio, but the way it seems to handle the flares from the daylight, that's kind of a nice look. I gotta say, there's a little bit of character to the image quality out of this. Now, that's for photo, similar for video, but there is one huge downside of the video side of it, which I will get into in a minute. This is a relatively sharp lens. Obviously, a lot of lenses around the aperture 4.5, they're going to be sharp in the center. And as the image goes out to the side, it can get a little bit soft. 4.5 is the beginning in a lot of lenses of the sweet spot. As you go up to between 4.5 and 8, then that's the main sweet spot, just as an average in lenses for the sharpest. But let me know in the comments, what do you think of the image quality out of this lens with just a series of photographs? I did find the autofocus really good, and it works. Now, the minimum focus distance is 32 centimeters, which I will take great exception to. Viltrox had a similar lens recently, and it was a similar minimum focus distance. I thought it was a lot more, and in fact, this feels a lot more. But look, let's not split size differences here with anybody. But it's just one of these things that a lens like this, it's got very specific purpose. So if you are one of those folks who's just concerned about taking a camera out with a big lens in it, this looks like a lens cap as opposed to an actual lens. So from a comfortability perspective, if you're out, a lot of street photographers could absolutely relish something like this because it's so inconspicuous. It's like some dude's holding a camera. They're not even taking photographs. It is that tiny. Now, to jump back to the autofocus, it works perfectly well in video. It works kind of smooth. It's a little bit noisy. In the autofocus. In fact, you can even see the lens kind of going up and down as it's trying to find the focus. I found it's a little bit too noisy. At 28mm, it's probably kind of too tight for vloggers anyway. So from a B-roll perspective or photography, this is really, really good. Now the autofocus works, but as I said, to me, it's just a little bit too noisy. But that's probably one of the few trade-offs that you will have with a lens that's costing less than $100. This is launching really, really soon. And for the price point, I mean, just stick this into your bag. You don't even have to have a bag to carry this. You can have a, stick it into your pocket. Gotta be honest, this is a lens I probably wouldn't really use that often because I don't have the specific need for it. But for somebody that's looking to get their next first lens, besides maybe the kit lens, this thing is absolutely worth considering. Look, Viltrox have sent me this. They haven't said, say anything. They're like, do you want to review the lens? And I'm like, ooh, pancake lens. That's kind of cool. And yeah, its focal length is not for what I need, but it could be absolutely something for you. And at the price point, I don't think you can really go wrong. Sure, it's not some insane high quality glass or anything, but what they've squeezed in here, even the fact that there's a USB-C port here to update firmware at some point, if the needs be, that's kind of nuts. For this side, again, I say it time and time again, if I'm ever looking at Viltrox lenses, I don't know how they squeeze in what they squeeze into their lenses and at the prices they're charging. Somebody's got to be losing money, right? Yeah, it's seriously impressive stuff.